Today we're looking at some felted Arty Farty Hearties. Hello and welcome back to a Cookie Corner of YouTube. If you have been following along with Annie Claxton's great big little stitchery swap, you will know that the next big swap is starting on the 1st of April, and it is a change from the usual squares and tags that we've been doing. We are now doing some Arty Farty Hearties, and they are capturing my imagination because there are so many ways you can do this. Now, for the past few swaps, the squares and the tags have been mainly stitchery based, obviously including things like needle felting and embroidery and quilting, etc. But this time the challenge is open to any kind of heart. So it's going to be 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters is going to be your base. So that's the kind of heart I've cut out for myself to use as a template. And you can see I have used it already. If it fits within a 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter square, then it's all good to go. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you can organize with your swapsters if you want to do a bigger piece or a smaller piece or however you want to do it. But that's kind of like the guidelines, really. And that's what I'm going with because it's a good size to replicate. You know, not that I'm going to be replicating too many because they're all going to be original, and I might delve into different ways of making hearts as well. So I could do artwork, I could do pyrography if I wanted to. So it really is open to any way you want to interpret it. So these are two that I have made so far using some needle felting, and this one had some extra stitching and some wire work in it. So you can go to town with these. That's what I really love about the fact that you can just do whatever. I've got my little tag on the back of this one. For the felt hearts, I have got some handmade felt because it's nice and thick. You can buy handmade felt online, by the way. Some of this I've made, some of this I've bought. This one was a piece that I had hanging around in my studio. This one also was one that I made myself, but you can get some handmade felt for this, and I've used like a 4mm thickness handmade felt. So I have cut myself out a few. Where's the other ones that I've done? I've done so many. I've cut out so many blanks. Okay. So this is some felt that I made ages ago. I'm going down my little pastel route here, and I've managed to get 3 of these big hearts out of it, but I also had a little bit left, so I've got a bit left for a small one as well. So these are not very heavily felted, but they've got Angelina threads in. They've kind of got some different kinds of wool felt in there as well. So those are ones that I've made. These are some pre-bought handmade felt pieces that you can buy online, and I've got those in a variety of different colours. And if you like making your own felts, it's a nice thing to do. I like to do my wet felt making I like to do in like the spring, summer, because you've got a bit of drying time. I'm not so keen on wet felting in winter. I suppose it's completely fine. It's just the fact that I like to be able to put things to dry somewhere, and when it's dank and dreary and cold, it's not really drying as well as I like, or as quickly as I like, because I do like to work fairly quickly. Anyway, how I've made these, I have got my blank of my felt, say for example that one, and I have gone in and needle felted this. So needle felt it, add some stitchery in, add some sequins in, add some beads in, and then I will back it with another piece of felt. Now, if I wanted to, I could make this more puffy and add some stuffing into it, but I quite like the flatness of these because also you have to think about postage. Postage has recently gone up. I am going to be sending all of mine second class because that has not changed. Thank goodness that's not changed in the recent postage upgrade thingamadoo that's gone on, where first class postage has gone up quite a bit. It's just gone up too much to be able to send things first class. For me anyway, when you're sending out a few things, you know, I think I've got about 17 swapsters. It's a lot, you know, so bear that in mind. So the thickness of the things and also how big you're going to be sending. Anyway, waffle over. Let's have a little go at needle felting. Now, I'll show you one that I started. This one, I'm going to be doing some little flowers in. I've also needle felted some yarn. So if you've got scraps of yarn that you don't use, you can needle felt those in as well. Let me find one that's going to be nice to view. I like this fresh green one. Let's go with that one. So this one I'm going to continue with at some point, but I'm going to show you how you get to that stage really. So first of all, you're going to need something to felt onto. My felting brush has run away. No, it isn't, it's here. So this is my felting brush. You could equally use a very thick scrubbing brush. That works as well. These are clover ones. I've got a bigger one than this, and the only one I could find at the minute is my small one. So I'm using that. You could use a piece of foam, whatever you've got. And you need felting needles. This is my clover pen tool, which has got 3 needles in it. It makes needle felting a breeze because it goes 3 times as quickly as the other one. And somewhere I've got some little scraps. So I've got scraps of wool. I'm just going to pull out a whole pile of little bits of things. These are things that I have left over from knitting projects and other felting projects. This little bag was from a pack that I made to send out when I did the Rainbow Connection little packs, if anybody remembers those. But yeah, we got all sorts. See, I've got this beautiful white tops, which has got some, it looks like a carded tops actually, with some Angelina fibres in it already. And Angelina fibres in themselves do not felt very well, but if you mix them in with other things, then you can get them to felt. So okay, so let's have a little look. I'm going to do some more flowers on this one, I think, just because it's an easy thing to show you and you can do them however you like, really. So that's quite nice. It's the same as that. Yes, it is. So you can stretch this out a bit like if you were making the yarn. And I'm just going to do some crazy twiddles. So just needle felting it down. Sorry if the table is bouncing. Let me see if I can take you out a little further. I have again got a messy desk. It's it sometimes is tidy, although no one ever gets to see it when it's tidy, apart from me when I've just finished cleaning it. Because the instant it's the instant it's tidy, I fill it with something else. It is a way. It is a way. There's always something that I'm doing that makes a mess. I'm just going to make this into a circle, actually. It kind of lends itself into a little circle, so let's get that down there. Kind of liking that. Now, I can try and pull it, but sometimes it doesn't pull right. So this is the only time you'll see me snip fibres, is when they're going to be needle felted in, like this. If you cut fibres, generally they tend to leave like a really harsh edge, but on something like this it doesn't really matter. So there we go, and that's just a piece of this carded tops. This is from World of Wool, a great place to get your wool tops from. Love that place. I'm always getting things from there. I have ambitions to go and visit the warehouse at one point in time, because it is quite close to where I visit when I go into Leeds. So it's quite handy. Right, so here I've got some little bits of felt that I have cut from other projects as well. I've got all kinds of stuff going on here. So all the yarn ends of things, quite like that blue actually. So that's a yarn, that's a collar net yarn that I was using. I'm going to try and make this into a solid circle, I reckon. And you know that I go bright. This is just my this is my colourway. Actually, I wonder if it will go around. No, it's not quite long enough. Yeah, this is a collar net yarn. It's one of those where it's spun quite tightly and then left quite open. It was quite popular back in the 90s. I had loads of this. So have a diggy through that. Oh, I quite like that pink. I think I've got a bit more of that as well if I need to needle. Yeah. I'm just thinking big flower for this one. As I say, you can do whatever you want. And that's the joy of creating, isn't it? Do you. Do what makes you happy. Big flowers make me happy. Looks like a target at the minute, doesn't it? Hopefully, when I'm done, 'twill be a flower. So there are other ways you can add a shape into your felt. You can use pre-felt, which is, it's like a piece of, don't think I've got any in here. Oh, I do. That's a pre-felt. So it's movable. You can still move it around. So it's not fully felted, and they sell it in sheets. They sell it at World of Wool. They sell this in sheets of different colours. And these are nice and easy to felt into pieces. Also, craft felt you can felt in as well, or wool felt. Now, I don't like to use my wool felt, my pure wool felt, because it's quite stiff. I say stiff, it's stiff to needle felt through, should I say. That's more like it. And the mixed felt, which has got bits of wool in it and also some rayon, that seems to felt a little better. I'm just going to trim that off there so that I can needle felt that in. Try and get my shape of my circle going on here. If you want to, you could draw on your piece what you want to go on there in a movable marker. Felt's not so easy to draw on, but you can get something on there with like a friction pen or something. Yay! Yes, I'm liking that. So just to make sure it's all felted in, making sure that I've still got you on camera because I have a tendency to wander. So this pre-felt stuff, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this. You can cut this into shapes. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just doing a simple circle. And I'm going to add that over here into the background. Felt it in. So you can see how easily that is felting in. It's going in really nicely. And because this felt is so thick, but you can see, if you turn it over, you can see the fibres at the back. You can just vaguely see those yellow ones because I've just started doing that. You can see these, and that means it's felted in. There we go. So that's a little yellow dot I've got going on there. What else have I got in here? It's quite nice. Let's have a look in this little packet here. So this is just like a carded tops. I'm going to shape that into a vague circle. Make sure my point is on that. And mind any fingers always. Felt this in. And with these Arty Farty Hearties, you can absolutely go to town. So you can go in with beads and sequins and bells. I've got some bells actually. I might add a jangly bell onto some of my bits. Swapsters of mine be warned. Talking about swapsters, it's a good idea to check out with your swapsters if they have any specific requirements. I tend to do what I do, and I kind of just think, okay, I'm enjoying making this, so hopefully someone who receives it will enjoy it too. I do check if there are certain colours that people don't want, but quite often I just do my own thing. Let's see what else we've got here. But yeah, it's a good idea to check in, make sure that you're on the same page, so to speak, with your swaps. Some people might be still doing the traditional square swaps, and you need to check and make sure that everybody's happy with what you're going to be sending. Quite like that. I quite like that. It's nice and pretty. Can I go round again? Maybe not round again. Or maybe round again. Why not? It might not end up as flowers. It might end up just as like lots of circles. Kind of like that idea. I've got a thing about circles. Got a bit of thread in there that needs not to be in there as well. Let's get that out. Everything went into this bag. Bits of thread. All kinds of stuff. So, needle felting onto this piece now. And I'll just continue with that. Okay, so that's all felted down. So you can see the threads, the fibres coming through to the other side. So that's nicely felted. Let's have a little look at what else we've got going on here. So many pretties. So many pretty things. That's a nice piece of crafty felt. Do I want some little bits? Got that bit of yarn there. Let's Let's give this a go. This is like an acrylic yarn, which also felts, should I say. You can felt in any little bits of yarn that you've got, so don't throw them away. Nothing gets thrown away. And you can add those in. To your piece. Do apologise if the camera's joggling. There's not a lot I can do about it at this point because I am needle felting. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, you can see that's gone through. The fibres have gone through, so that's felted nicely. So yeah, all the bits of yarn that you use for crochet or anything else, just stick them in a bag and save them, because they will definitely come in for something. Use that pink already. Let's have a look. It's too dark. Lots of greens in here. Ooh, hello. Let's have a bit of you. Pulling off a little bit of tops there. I just want some smaller circles. Going with my dotty, circly theme here. That's got a little bit of cotton in with it, but that'll felt in as well. All adds to the texture, doesn't it? Very nice, very nice. That's gone in beautifully. And I think I want something over here, just a little bit of something. This is like a chenille yarn. Curious to see. Should felt, but let's give it a little shot here, just in this corner. Yeah, I'll go in. It's a little harder to felt because it's cotton, but you can see you get like a fluffy effect with the chenille yarn. Very nice. Don't want to push it too hard. I can feel that's getting quite solid, so I'll leave that at that. So once you've got your base down of all the different bits, you can start to add in. Oh, hello. No, maybe not that. Do like this Angelina fibre, but I don't think it will go with this piece. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave that at that. Now, what I'm going to do is I have got some wool tapestry yarn, and that's what I used on this one. Got bits all over this one now. So if you can see, I've made like little lazy daisy stitching around there. That's just like a back stitch. That's just like a straight stitch. Got some French knots going on in there. So you can just go to town with it, which I'm going to do with this one. I'm going to add some weird and wonderful stitching in. So let me put all these little bits and bots back in the bag. Get in the bag. I've got bits all over there. Sometimes I get out a tray to put these bits on. Because you know me and bits don't get along, but I have got my handy dandy little desk hoover. I'm going to take all those out. Hopefully. If it's ready for a recharge. But there we go. Almost a clean desk now. Yeah. Okay, so now I've got this. I have also got a bag of yarn threads that are longer lengths. I'll go and grab that out and we'll do some stitching onto this piece. So I've pulled out my threads. She's got a needle in there, already threaded. How cool. Well, I'll use that then. That's got some pearl thread on it, but these are the bits I was talking about. These are like wool tapestry yarn. And it's a great way of getting a whole host of colours in wool. If you don't want to buy like big balls, if you're not a knitter or a crocheter, then tapestry yarn is the way to go. So this is a tapestry skein wool. It's 100% wool. And you can get it in loads and loads of colours like you can with embroidery threads. So this beautiful yellow again is an anchor thread. DMC do them as well. So this is a DMC one. That's a DMC version. So again, like the stitching threads, the embroidery threads, then the tapestry threads are good to go as well. You can also get crewel threads, which are thinner. So that's a thinner wool as well. If you are not a knitter or a crocheter, then this is probably the way to go. Right, let's get some stitching done. So here I've stitched into my piece. It's got lots of decoration going on, lots of stitches. I could add in more if I wanted to, but I'm quite happy with that. So what I want to do now is, because I like this decoration on the outside of that one, I'm going to do it on this one as well. And I've got this beautiful neon pom-pom trim that I love. Now what you need for these now is some plain felt backing, and I use some of the wool mix felt. So it's not pure wool, it's a mix of wool and rayon. So I'm going to grab some of that out now and cut one of those out to match my heart. So I've got this lovely golden yellow. Just make myself a little space and get my heart template, and that will be pinned on. You could draw around it if you want to. With these, because I've got this little paper template, it's just easier to just pin it on in a couple of places and then cut around it. Like so. Grab my fabric scissors. I'm just going to roughly cut it out for a second just to get rid of the excess around the outside. Like that. And then just cut it out. This is quite nice because it's a thinner felt. Because I've got quite a thick felt front, then I don't want it to get too bulky. So put those away. Rid of the scraps. Save those in the little bag. Okay. So you can see I've got some clips out that was holding this in place with. I can actually just use those to clip around here. So take that one out. Just trying to match it up. A clip in there. And that clip can just go over all of those there. Same with this one. Stick that in there. If any of your trim starts poking through, you can just adjust it as you are stitching round. That's what I tend to do with my blanket stitch. I'll make sure it's all included in as I stitch around. Like this bottom bit here, I'll just have to fiddle around with this a little bit just to make sure that's all inside. It's always fiddly on the corner bits. There we go. That's there. That's on the outside. Make sure all my clips are on there. Look. There. So now I've got the backing piece on there as well. and I am going to blanket stitch all the way around. So if you look at this one that I've done, I've picked a thread, or this is a yarn, and gone with the contrasting colour. This one's yellow. I want to pick something different. So I'll have a look in my little stasharoo. I could go that vibrant magenta. I don't want to go with the green. I could go orange. I might go orange because then I'm echoing that thread that's in there already. So let's do that. So that's what I'm going to do then, just blanket stitch all the way around. I'll probably start at the top of the heart there. If you wanted to at this point, you could put a hanging loop in there. I'll probably, if I need to, I'll probably attach a hanging loop to it retrospectively, because I'm not sure yet as to whether I want it to be hanging or not. And I can just stitch this on as is. So let me straighten that. It's a bit wonkadoo. There we go. So I'm going to go and sit down and stitch around that in a blanket stitch in this lovely orange colour. So I finished sewing the trim and the blanket stitch around the edge. I think that's pretty cool. I like that. So we have 3 completed ones so far, and I am going to keep going because as you saw, I've got a whole pile of these cut out ready to go. So I am going to continue with these, but I have got other ways I want to create my hearts as well, because I've got lots of ideas for other stitchy ways to do it and other arty ways to do it. So watch this space, there'll be other ones coming along, but these are the ones I've got for now. And I've got this one also to be getting on with, which I want to add into, and it's going to be a similar line to those, I think. And then I'm going to do a couple more like this one, and that'll be 5 completed. These are the tiny little ones I got left over, with leftover bits of handmade felt that I couldn't get the big hearts from. But I'm also thinking that once these are stitched up, you could put them on the front of a card blank or something, and they'd be quite nice to give as a present or a card present that could then be framed. Lots of potential there with those ones as well. So we've got hearts aplenty. If you want to join in, pop over to Annie Claxton's Discord channel or her Facebook group. So you need to look out for the Arty Farty Annie Facebook group or the Arty Fartist Discord group. I'll try and leave links down in the description box below so you can go straight to them. You have still time to get some swapsters. So maybe you're a first time stitcher and you want to have a go at just swapping with a couple of people or one person just to see how it goes. That's all well and good. Annie doesn't arrange swaps, you arrange them yourself. So you'll go into either the Facebook group or the Discord group. Facebook group, you'll just say that you would like to swap, tell them where you are in the world. So if you're in the UK or if in the US or if you're in Australia, because it makes sense to swap with people within your country postage wise. You might not be too worried about that, and you might want to swap with people from all over the world. So that's all well and good, and you can just say that, happy to swap with anybody. Give a kind of brief description of what you'd like to swap. So maybe you want to swap hearts and you want to do stitched hearts, and you're happy, you just say what you're happy to receive. For me, I'm happy to receive hearts in any form at all. I don't care whether they're stitched, whether they are cake form. Please send me cakes. I'm joking. However you want to send me a heart, my swapsters, that is, because I've already got mine arranged. But there are lots of people in there who are still looking for people to swap with. I'm going to deal with my ones that I've got, and then I might actually go in and say, anybody else want to swap? Because I might get carried away making these and end up with way more than I expect. But yeah, so Arty Fartist Discord. If you go in the Discord group, there is a specific room for the Arty Farty Hearty swap. So once you get in there, and if you're joining for the first time, you'll land in the general room and someone will direct you. There is always someone in there who will show you and very helpfully tell you what you need to do in order to get to the swap area if you're not sure. Anyway, that's enough waffling on from me for today. I hope you've enjoyed this little look into how I'm putting a few of mine together. As I say, this is not going to be the be-all and end-all. I'm going to make lots of other different kinds as well, including arty ones, which I've got plans for. That's all from me for today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll be back here very soon with something else. Bye for now.